Good afternoon, everybody. It looks like everything's working. That's not the button I meant to hit. Take a couple days off, my body loses all of its normal functions. Oh, good. We have people fighting. Fun. It's always a joy. Alright, try to settle in this group. Whew. Alright. Get my body back into what it's used to. It's sad doing the Tour de Zwift for the next, 6 weeks. You won't see my jersey much. That's unfortunate. It's gonna be weird. I don't have to hold myself back at all. I can ride how I want to. First time in weeks. Gonna try to not go too crazy immediately. I just want to draft, but easier said than done when that's not what the group wants to do. I love how people are calling this a race instead of the actual race. Like, Tour de Zwift actually added races. I might ease off this group. This might be a little bit too much to come back to. Just gonna pull out of the draft, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm in the draft. Don't pull out. Just don't push. Duh. Thanks, Luma. There we go. Eased in a little bit. I see plenty of groups behind, which is good. So I gotta get my body back in gear. It doesn't know what it's doing anymore. Foreign concept to it. Don't want to be excited that I can do whatever I want and blow myself up immediately. Ironically, I probably undid a lot of the games from the 500 this past 4 days. Didn't ride, and my dad was here, so we had a lot of food. I've convinced myself I was just feeding a starving body. That's what we'll go with. And if you say otherwise, I don't want to hear it. Bye. We have a return to semi-interesting content, finally. I'm not just going to be spinning at zone 1. Oh, that was so difficult. Absolutely a one and done. Proud to have done it. Happy to never do it again. But thankfully I have something to do, otherwise it would have been mentally difficult to get myself back on the bike after what I did. Ah, steering. No draft for you. Gotta love that no steering has priority. This looks like a 5 or 6 person group. Maybe? That is quite the commentary. I kind of love it. You can buy this kit in real life, but I don't know why you would. I'm sorry, but this kit is ugly. It is not pretty. The Tour de Zwift kits lately have been horrifying. It's a little bit better in the game versus the app, but it's still not good. It's still ugly. Try to get back in on the pavement and then see if it's easier. If it stays hard, then I'll let him go. I'm still not really warmed in, so I don't want to be over zone 3. Prefer to be zone 2, 3. It's the tough thing when a group catches. Everybody wants to go with them. And until everything settles down, the original pace just goes out the window. But this will be until we hit that climb, and then I'll just let them go. I have no interest in staying in that at that pace up the climb. Oh. It's nice not to feel like I have a requirement. Like, I've got to get to X kilometers today. Goal for today? Stage 1, B, and C. That's it. I can late join and miss kilometers. Whatever. There is no requirement. It's a weird feeling for sure. sit in the draft. I have no interest in doing anything. Got the climb coming up anyways. I really want to meet the designer who thought these colors went together well. Like that jersey, that like salmon and green. Ugh. I don't think I've really seen many people that think this looks good. So, and then you add in the hat color. Only reason I'm doing the ultimate challenge is for the massive whopping 12,500 XP. And because it actually does feature like 2 of the routes I need. So, that's a win. I'll get extra XP on top of the XP. Ooh. It's weird, I basically have to remind myself that I don't need to conserve. I was pretty much on base miles all of December. I don't necessarily need to do that anymore. Not that I have any intentions of, like, doing anything in this, but I can. 8 days straight, I had to be like, no. Like a 7. Because the 8th day, I kind of just said, screw it, I've got 36 kilometers. Do whatever. Alright. So I think this is the start of the Castle KOM. And then the Spirit Tree KOM, right? I think. Basically, we get to the real start of the KOM, and I'm just going to be like, whatever. I'm going to try to stay zone 2-3. I'm not chasing anybody up it. I'll eventually do the race, but this is not a race. So I've got no reason to push. Go have fun, you guys. Feather. Feather. Oh, useless. That is just about the worst power-up I could have gotten out of that. It's a pretty sizable group. But I fully expect they're going to go ham on this climb. Why did you use a feather? Like, was that before the sprint line? I don't think it could have been. Yeah, this is definitely the main group here for within a minute of each side. Next group is way down. That's fine with me. Which means it's time for me to settle in. I basically had a pace group the entire flat. That was the goal. Maybe ease up a little bit more. Better get into zone 2. How did somebody... What? Somebody took the jersey after passing through it. Did somebody quit? That's weird. You're over halfway. Unless you're behind us.
Never really saw you coming until you turned me around. Used to think I was nothing, but look at this love we found. So give me your hand, take it to the top. No, I don't ever wanna see you cry. Oh yeah, no more tears. Oh yeah, no more tears. Take that chance, we'll be fine. No, I don't ever wanna see you cry. Oh yeah, no more tears. Oh yeah.
Alright. Oh, we're not doing a lap for this. That's right. We're just going straight through. Thinking we were doing a lap. Group behind me closed up pretty quick. They must have went hard on that first part. More power to them, though. Not my goal today. Gotta remind the body.
Never really saw you coming until you turned me around. Used to think I was nothing, but look at this love we found.
It'll be interesting to see when I race.
Give me your hand,
If I feel like fitness has gone up or down. It's weird to have timing devices around me too. For the 500, I basically turned off anything that had time. Time or distance were banned. Just had something to watch or listen to. HUD was turned off. Didn't want any indicators. I feel like this group is just gonna steamroll through. It's fine now. Second bump. Third one is real rough though. Basically, I know my legs are antsy, but I'm gonna try to rein them in. My body was full trained for one thing for a bit. Yeah, I think it's the Spirit Tree KLM. Which is miserable. I hate that KLM. It's a lot of dirt. Bye, Quadzilla. Could I keep up with these troops? Probably. It's not the goal, though. Now that's new. That's interesting for the Tour de Zwift. Like a follow band. It was a good effort, Williams. But it isn't easy. Go get him. I will not. And Temple KO, not Spirit Tree. Same difference. Who is that from the Degens? Not familiar with the last name. When people use their real names, I get confused. I definitely feel like my aerobic capacity is hit. But we'll see if that's a temporary thing. Hey! I know that person behind me. That's Frank. Hey, Rayton, how's it going? I appreciate the raid. Welcome in. I am, trying to put my body back together after the festive. So, trying to see how that's going. Right now, I definitely think my top end aerobic has taken a hit. That is for sure. But hopefully you had a good stream. About to be passed by Frank, it seems like. In this post-cross season. Nice. Yeah, I finished the Festive 500 and just shut it down for a while. And I'm trying to be good, but I'm going to try to let Frank go without chasing him. I've been trying to stay zone 2, 3, so I can kind of like bring my body back. I was upset. I went to Rafa to try to get my my patch January 2nd. They didn't have them yet. What? What do you mean you don't have them yet? I was so confused. So I still don't have my patch, which is legitimately upsetting. Fair. I rode every day for 8 days. It was rough, and I'm definitely never doing it again, but I'm happy I did it. And I have the jersey in the Zwift garage now. That was also something that made it more sweet for me, is it's one of the first years in a while where the Zwift jersey is unique. You can't just do a 60-minute ride and get it. And it is actually pretty good looking. Though it seems for the next 6 weeks, I'm not going to be wearing it. Which is unfortunate. Oh well. Fully upgraded my other Specialized bike though. So that was nice. I hate this climb. I have never enjoyed this one. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. January 2nd, I went to Rafa. And I'm like, hey, do you have these? Hoping that it was either yes, or worst case scenario, we already ran out. And, nope. Like, yeah, no, we haven't gotten them yet. I'm like, just leave your name and phone number. I'm like, oh my god. So I've got to drive 40 minutes again to come get it later. Rafa, you're not a small company. Yeah. Temple KOM is nasty because it's all dirt. I'm happy that the Ultimate Challenge this year has a legitimate reason to do it. Besides just a alternate color jersey, which was almost unnoticeable. This year, there actually is a prize that is worth it. It was funny though, I finished the festive, had to replenish all of my cycling nutrition. I'm not used to doing 16 hours on the bike in 8 days. Apparently, nor was my body. It wanted everything. That was one perk of going to the Rafa store. Is Scratch is right down the road. So, I just went and replenished from there. I can't remember. Does Turf and Surf do this climb? If it does, that's gonna suck. Oh. A century on not enough food sucks. The other one that's rough is when you do something that long, but you don't train your gut. Ugh. I always suffer from that. I'll be able to eat for like 2 hours, and after like 2 hours, my body's like, nah, and I'm like, well, that's a problem. This is gonna end poorly, body. And it always does. Tanuki. Hi. It was fun. Went and visited the wolves in the mountains over the weekend. That's been fun. Haven't done that in a while. Got to see the fox as well. If you ever come to Colorado, I highly suggest it. Very cool experience. Ooh. There will be no PR speed. Yay! Oh, I didn't use my power-up. Stupid me. I meant to use it before we got over the top. Not that it really matters. Arrow is kind of the best for the descent. Especially with no real group around me. Yeah, doing 8 days straight and then 5 days off the bike. My body is very confused. Does not understand. It's like, what are we doing? Probably the other reason I wouldn't do that again is I want to take time off the bike after, but then it's really difficult to get motivated to get back on. Thankfully, we have this. Otherwise, it would have been very mentally difficult. Good song. I haven't heard this song in forever. That's the fun part. Whoa. And I wake up the leg still. There we go. Now it's the fun downhill. Frank put in a lot of time on that climb than me. Alright. Might as well. Oh, it's not double power up. That's unfortunate. Hold on, we're only gonna go faster. There you go. Nice amount of speed. Can assume I'm definitely the heaviest one here. Oh, goody. A feather. With literally 0 elevation left in this route. Cool. Exactly what I wanted for Christmas. I will let you lead now. I led for a good amount of time. Your turn. No, Desero, you should be in between us. You go. You go. No, you. I'm so kind. I let everybody slot in. I'm back on the bike, so yeah, we'll go with that. How you doing, Peter? Trying to reacquaint myself with the bike. I will start racing again soon, which will be nice. Basically, didn't allow myself to race for a month or two. So, it'll be nice. Been trying to remind myself I don't have to, like, hold myself back. Not that I'm letting myself go crazy, but... 175. Cool. It took a little bit of convincing to get myself back on the bike, though, that's for sure. Wasn't the easiest thing I've ever done. Thankfully, this is on, so there's at least, like, legitimate motivation. Otherwise, it would have been much harder. I'll go back through. It's only fair. Quite the interesting Discover mix that my YouTube is on. Why are you bike changing? I mean, it's good music, but it's not what I ever think would pop up. I hope you didn't change to a mountain bike, because you're going to be sorely disappointed. Got a group coming up, so that'll be nice. It's not many, I think it's 2 or 3. Better than nothing. It's like 3. Ah, that's double though. Curious if the person who did a bike switch was switching off of a gravel bike for a Temple KOM. Give it a little bit of push to stay with them. Let them do the work now. I don't feel bad. The group's big enough now. Should be mostly flat now too, so. Ugh. Finish this, and we'll go hop into stage 1C. And then Thursday, we'll do stage 1A. and get all of stage 1 done. Thankfully, we have a week to do each stage, which is plenty of time. I could even do 1 stage a day, but normally stage B and C are short enough to do together with late join. And I don't feel bad about doing late join. If it works, it works. If I get credit by doing it, that's all that matters. Technically, you can start doing... Well, actually, I don't know if you can pre-do them. I'm not sure. I know you can... Once the stage is released, you can do them solo. I don't know prior, though. Not that I really care. I don't plan on doing it that way. Could have used my feather there. I do feel like the draft is not great right now. Telling me full draft, but I feel like that's worse than it is. But that's probably just me. There we go. Everybody eased. There you go. Get you right on. Oops. Dribbling on my handlebar. My bad. I'm tail gunning very poorly today. This is not my finest tail gunning. My graph is all over the place. It's like I've forgotten how to do this. Definitely a little bit more green in the graph than I was hoping for, but it is what it is. Stay together. Hold the line. Oh, I hate when people do that. They drop the wheel and then push. Don't do that. It's miserable for everybody. Alright. Stage 1 done. Now we just push for the ultimate. 18 total stages. How many of these people are going to sprint? Let's find out. Not I. I don't really care. But I'm interested to watch. There goes one. Just one? Kinda two. Really only one. That's fine, no, I don't really care. Man, our cameras are picking up something outside, so it must be windy. Because that's weird. Normally I don't get set off this much. Now, what glasses did I get? Oh, the... God, no. No. No, give me my jersey. Give me my jersey I worked so hard for. It's pretty, and I'm not gonna see it for so much time. Alright. It's better than it could have been, not as good as it should have been. If that makes any sense. Excuse me. $198 meters, so... Oh, I see. I missed a lot at the beginning. One moment. I didn't do it. Wasn't my fault. Can't prove it. Alright. Let's see where this brings us. It's gonna actually load us straight in. It's promising. Not as promising. There we go. Okay, I was gonna say, don't put me at 356. That's mean. Alright, that's a big group going up the road. Whew. That was a bit of a surge. Whoops. Let's hope that wasn't a bad idea. Oh, I forgot Turf and Surf is the one that eased in the beginning. Hard in the end. Like the first 2/3 of the cakewalk. So, that'll be fun. So let's try to stay with this group until the first bump. Should be fairly reasonable to do so. And it'll be fun for myself. Yeah, it seems like chasing was worth it. This group is not going crazy fast. I jumped in right at the right time to still be able to bridge. Ugh, dirt. Come back here. Don't let it split. This is the easy part. There we go. Don't let it split on the easy part. Alright, should be good for the downhill into the flats. The flats will be hit or miss depending on how hard they go. But I do think we'll be on tarmac for a lot of that. Which will resolve some of this. It's always difficult. Come on. Bunch up, guys. Get in there. It's better if you all bunch. Such a weird playlist. It's like borderline copyright-free music. It's so weird. I don't necessarily dislike it, it's just what I typically ride with. Yeah, this one I do dislike. Way too chill. Man, these are some classic, like, electronic songs. Or, like, the birth of EDM pop. Weird. Doesn't feel like a Discover playlist. It feels like a themed playlist for sure. Good bit of recovery. There we go. Finally, tarmac. Stupid dirt. Definitely happy with my choice to chase. It's a very solid group to make distance on. Alrighty. Now what will happen when we get on the flats? How ham are people gonna go? Are we gonna chill because it's lumpy in the end? That's my choice. Mainly because I'll also probably get dropped as soon as it goes uphill. So it's not. I'm gonna hope that at the sprint, I get a feather. That is my hope. Because the cavern out is gonna need a feather. I think it's the, yeah. Because we didn't come in the cavern, so we're probably leaving the cavern. If I remember right. And that cavern is a bear. Do we have a group catching up? That'd be interesting. It's got to be a bigger group if they're catching us. This group isn't really sitting around. Yep. We have a group chasing. Okay. Oh, this part sucks. So they're going to be a three-way merge. Our group in front, group behind. We're gonna get caught first. For everybody here, it's halfway, but the hard part hasn't started yet. No power up. No power up, people. The fake banner. It's mean that they put a real banner on the fake banner. Because normally that's just a ghost banner, not an actual permanent one. Some rides finish there, but it's not real. Which is always bizarre to me. It's a lap banner, but it's not. It's one of the only lap banners that doesn't give out stuff. About time for me to get spit out the back. This is not a small kicker. Despite what it looks. Doesn't look like everybody caught us. Looks like it was a partial catch and split, which is weird. That's rare. Like a front couple caught. Some people sat up thinking they had caught, and the split opened. That's unfortunate. Thought they're coming back again. But I'm going to explode on the climb. For sure. I do not have a doubt about this. Partially also I don't want to go that hard on the climb. Because the cavern out is going to suck as it is. Yep. Bunch of groups are going to come together right at the bottom. And then it's going to explode. It's one of the routes where it actually sucks to late join. Alright. Settle in. Aim for zone 2-3. I'm sure there's plenty of people that are going to do 3+. Yep, here comes next group. You guys all have fun. There we go. Settle in, blue-green. Look at all the people ahead of me. Ah, you were people I were with before. Good song. Still not a cycling playlist, but good song. Oh, that was weird. I don't know if I've ever had a trainer drop out with direct connect. Now I'll have to make sure everything's secure. That would be bad. Almost done with this. This is only part of the fun. Cavern is worse. Try to pick up a group. Mainly for the flats, or downhill and flat. I'll let them try to pull a group together. Wow, all of these throwbacks. Stop making me feel old. Oh. I wound up other. Let me try to stitch this up. Or Morgan can. There we go. Try to follow this group. Only really until we start the climb again. I'll go my own tempo at the climb. But this is good draft. I don't want to miss this. I think this is the race course for the week. I don't know. It's gonna suck, that's for sure. I'm not sure what my racing score is decayed to either. There's the butt. Which only means one thing. There's a penguin. I'm sad I have my festive 500 jersey, but because the next 6 weeks are Tour de Zwift, I won't see it. Because you're always in the Tour de Zwift jersey. It's like, oof. Timing. What? Weird puppy. Casper. Oh, no, there it is. Never mind. Thanks, Spoon. Alright, just try to chill with this group until we hit the cavern. You have this little bump in the middle, though. This thing is unsuspecting at best. But boy, does it throw you. Such a weird playlist. Alright. I'm gonna push to stay here. Karen, did you find a kitten? Ah, phantom hairs. Never fun. Nope, still not coming up. Ah. Onwards to misery. It's good course recon if I do decide to race this. It's been a little bit. Alright. Where's the graph? There it is. Try to visually figure out where that plateau is. Is it in the figure 8? No, it's not. Alright. What's on this corner? I'm back here. Stop pushing me out of the draft. I'm purposefully doing that, Zwift. Hey, bounce up. Been a fun little race simulation. Basically, marking anybody that was in my group. All 18 stages. So A, B, and C of all 6. And you get 12,500 XP bonus. AKA a lot. Nope. Race will count as C stage, but it's not required. Man, I gotta be careful of that. William's got some distance.
Atomic.
Alright, that's good enough. I went to the cavern. That's where I really wanted the simulation. I don't need to burn myself out that hard. I accomplished what I wanted to do. But yeah, so Ultimate Challenge, there's 6 weeks of the tour. You have to finish all 3 stages each week. You can do them in solo. You don't have to do the group rides. I don't know if you can pre-do them. I don't know. But you'll get 12,500 XP and a backwards hat. Woo. 12,500 XP is a lot, though, so that's what I want. I don't care about the kit or anything. No offense to Zwift, but it's ugly. You're level 100. Well, then you're gathering XP for later. Because you know they'll do the same thing again. Because level 100 plus is coming soon, they said. Alright. Let's see. I want my jersey. Give me my jersey, dang it. I earned this. I am not... Why am I in the hat? Get rid of the hat. The hat is ugly. No, give me this back. Nope. Oh, crap. There we go. I want my jersey that I worked hard for. I will be wearing this for a while. I forgot that that's a big finish line too. So you don't get a power up. Ooh. It was a little spicy at the end. Just a little bit. Probably good though. Ah, hold it. Ah, hold it. I wonder if he did the race. Because that would be about the right distance, so I don't know if he did stage 1C or the race. Knowing Holden, he probably did the race. I'm just gonna wind down for a little bit because I have done 1B and 1C, so I am on track. Good, about an hour and a half. Why did you do that? Are you insane? Actually, I know the answer to that question. Exactly, yeah. I don't know why I bothered asking the question. Let's aim for last place. Probably still won't even have last place, let's be honest. It's gonna be close. It'll be very close. I'll be like 10th from the bottom. That's like the lowest I've ever gotten. Yeah, like 10th from the bottom. That's funny. That's rare. Oh well. Alright. That's good. Let's see. What did the graph look like for that? So, I did put in a little bit of a sprint to catch the group initially, which is interesting. Alright. An hour and a half. Cool. That's exactly what I thought it would be. Racing score is 343. Did it really not decay? If it did, it didn't decay much. I don't feel like that's gone down much at all. And I feel like I haven't really raced a ZRS race in like a month. That's weird. Oh well. Hey, I'm almost done with this. Well, first step. I know there's a second step, even though I don't want to think about it. Flat route. Blah. Oops, I didn't mean to click on the same thing. Nope. Not that I plan on doing anything else, because it's Tortoise Zwift time, so. Okay, so stage 1, I still have to do sheets of shakedown. These aren't terrible. This one will be a little bit long. This one sucks, and this one sucks, but these are route badges I don't have. So there's that. These are all very easy. This is gonna suck. This is gonna suck. This is okay. I hate all of this. That's pretty much all there is to that one. But yeah, there you go. Here's the ultimate. So complete 9 activities, you get 500. 12 activities, 500. 15 activities, 500. 18, you get the after party cap. Oh, and it's 11,000, but plus the 500. So it's 12,500 to do that. Okay. Because otherwise you just get this. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Anyways, I'm done. I appreciate everybody for joining. Thursday will probably be the next stream. Normally I do Tuesdays or Monday, Wednesday, but thankfully my job has scheduled stuff on Mondays, which is wonderful. And that is entirely facetious that I'm happy about this. And I hope it goes away. Yay. So, for this week I'll be back on Thursday. And then Saturday. So we'll be back to normal streams, not the ridiculous festive 500 schedule. So, thank you all for joining. I will see you probably Thursday. Bye.